experienced my father moving out on my mother when I was a young child. I was 8 years old at the time, Aretha was 6. But I can truly understand how Aretha felt at that moment. She probably felt as if part of her heart was ripped out as she watched her mother walk away from that house. And you can imagine the pain that she continued to experience for many, many years after that. Now the reports say that even though Aretha's mom had moved away from the house, she still tried to have a relationship with the children. She would see them every once in a while. But sadly, Aretha's mom died just before Aretha's 10th birthday. So you can imagine the complexity, how great a wound she was feeling on the inside. First, her mother had moved out of the house. She still had an opportunity to see her mom occasionally, to converse with her mom, but then to hear that her mother had died before she reached the age of 10, that was very, very sad indeed. Aretha's life just continued to spiral downwards after that. Her father, this ungodly pastor, was the one who was left to care for her. Now, what Aretha had learned from her father was that sex outside of marriage was okay. So lo and behold, Aretha is at school. She's being pressured by this young man to have sex with him out of marriage. But because she's learned from her father this is okay, she gives in to the pressure. Remember on Saturday night we're talking about the pressures that young people face, and we said it's very, very common as young people, as you go through life, you're going to face all kinds of challenges, all kinds of situations that are going to present themselves to you to do what you know is wrong, to disobey what God says we should do. And here was Aretha in the church, because they were still going to church, her father was still the pastor. She knew, based on the word of God, that having sex outside of marriage was wrong. But she was not seeing the lifestyle from her father to help her really apply that to her life, help her to obey God. So when this boy began to pressure her to have sex, she gave in. And lo and behold, at the ripe old age of 12, she gave birth to her first child. Now imagine how sad that is. I can see the shock on your face. That is what caught my attention when they were giving her life story. At the age of 12, she had her first child. She learned, how many people in here are 12? Or younger? 12 or younger. Can you imagine having a baby at 12? Aretha, okay, now listen, okay, girls. I understand the shock. But you still have to pay attention. I'm still speaking. 12. That's the point I'm trying to make. So listen, I continue to speak. So at 12, Aretha gives birth to her first son. She learns very quickly that having a baby at that age is no fun. It was hard work. It meant a lot of sleepless nights. It meant a lot of dirty diapers. It meant a lot of bottles that she had to wash. But she did it. But life wasn't easy for her. But she continued, her life continued to spiral downwards. And at the age of 14, she gave birth to her second son. For a different boy. At that time, she was still in church. She was singing gospel songs. She was performing for the audience, for the congregation. So her father decided at that point that he would take her and her two sisters on the road so they could perform in different congregations throughout the states. And she gained a certain level of notoriety. She became famous doing that. At the age of 18, because she was really desiring love. That's why she was going to these boys. There was a pain and a void on the inside of her which said, I'm missing love. I need to be loved. I need to be accepted. My mother's not here for me anymore. My father's not really here for me. And there's something on the inside of me that I need. And she felt that these boys could give it to her. Now, as she started to travel across the country and sing, and she was receiving the applause from the audiences that were listening to her because she had a beautiful voice, she began to think, okay, I like this as well. So at the ripe old age of 18, she decided that she would leave home, leave her two sons behind. She would move to New York City because she wanted to be famous. She wanted to be a gospel singer. She wanted to be a singer. Not necessarily a gospel singer. She just wanted to make money. She wanted to be a singer. So she met another man, when she went to New York at the age of 19. This man became her manager, and she eventually married this man. He was a lot older than she was, but she married him. She discovered after the marriage that he was a very terrible man. He had a problem with anger. He was very violent. There was a lot of domestic violence. He would hit her often. And so she learned that in order to defend herself, she also had to fight. So there was numerous reports of this couple fighting and fighting and fighting. Eventually they separated, they had a divorce. That's the story of Aretha Franklin. Now remember, when you disobey God, you open the door on your life to the enemy. Aretha's father had the responsibility, because he was the pastor, to teach his daughter, to teach his children the ways of God. He had the responsibility to teach them to cultivate a relationship with God that would help them to understand that they had an invisible enemy who would seek any opportunity possible to try to destroy them. Aretha never got that message from her father, because her father never learned that message himself. He too had opened the door. Not only was his own life destroyed, by virtue of him disobeying God's word, he destroyed the lives of his family as well. So imagine for a moment, here we are at Camp Koinonia, and we're in our cabins, and we hear something scratching on the door. We're thinking, that could be a bear. That could be a bear. Should I open the door or not? What would you do?
No time.
I would open the door. I would hope you wouldn't open the door. God gives us rules to protect us. The door on our cabins is there to protect us. God gives us rules to protect us. I talked about that on Saturday as well. My mom had a lot of rules. When I was a child, I didn't understand the value of those rules. I rebelled. I got in trouble because I rebelled. But now as an adult, I'm looking back and I knew the reason my mother had those rules was because she was trying to protect us. God has given us rules in order to protect us as well. We have to read his word so that he can tell us the strategies that the enemy will use to destroy us. One of the strategies that we see that the enemy used to destroy Aretha and her family was sex outside of marriage. Her life continued to spiral downwards. It didn't stop there. After she got married, she had another son, and that relationship didn't come to fruition, ended in divorce. So here she was with 3 boys. Now, you would think that was enough. She had learned to fight. And so now, because there was a lot of anger on the inside of her, because of the pain she was feeling from all of these relationships that were dysfunctional, she began to have a very angry disposition. She began to think about her 2 sisters, who started out in the music industry with her, who were accompanying her as her backup singers. There was a point in her life where she began to think that her sisters were jealous of her, that they were envious of her success. So there was a bit of strife between her and her sisters. And then there's another report of her at her father's funeral, where her sister-in-law walked too close to her father's coffin, and it really offended her, and she almost hit this person in public. This is how much of a person Aretha had become. Her anger was getting the best of her. Now, you would think that was enough. Her father was shot. Her father ended up being shot. A robber broke into the house, shot him twice. He ended up in a coma for 5 years, and then he eventually died. Her brother died, her sister died shortly afterwards, both of whom had cancer. Aretha died last week, I believe it was, also of cancer. Now, I took the time to walk through Aretha's life for you, because I think she paints a really good picture of a lot of the things that we have been talking about this week. We talked about the fact that God has rules for us to obey. We talked about the fact that our relationship with God is the most important relationship that we can have. And through Aretha's life, we can see the downside of failing to do those things. We can see that when we fail to obey God's word, things will not necessarily go right for us. In Aretha's case, she did become famous. She did have a lot of money, so she didn't necessarily spiral downwards to the degree that some other people have spiraled downwards when they disobeyed God. But nevertheless, her life was filled with a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of anxiety. She eventually became an alcoholic, and she was a chain smoker. She was doing those things because she was trying to find something to soothe the pain on the inside of her. Yet, the world calls her the Queen of Soul. The world looks upon Aretha as this big, successful woman. Why? Because of what she was able to accomplish. She ended up having a lot of money. She lived in a really nice house. She drove a really nice car. She wore pretty nice clothes. So from the world standard, Aretha was an amazing success. But let's look at the picture from God's perspective. Do you think that God considered Aretha a success?
No.
Why not?
Because she was using
Hands up again, let's talk. Hands up here. Yes.
Because she was using drugs and she was getting angry easily.
Because she was smoking,
Yes.
right? She was using alcohol and she was getting angry easily, yes? You were going to say something else?
Yeah, she had sex at the wedding.
She had sex out of wedlock, yes?
Because she was living a normal life of sin.
She was living out.
A normal life of sin.
She was living like a sinner, yes?
Because her success wasn't God's will.
Because her success wasn't God's will or God's way.
God's will.
God's
How she made it.
how she made her life successful. Anybody else in the back? Is there a hand in the back? No, you're just scratching your hair? Okay, here in the back.
Honestly, it depends.
It depends. Okay, let's hear your
It
thoughts.
depends on like some of the stuff we sang about could have impacted people in a different way, even though she was living a bad life, but she could have impacted people in a good way with how she was singing.
Okay, so because of how she was singing, she could be, you think that God would consider her a success because of the songs she was writing and
No,
the impact.
because of how she impacted other people.
How did she impact other people? You have to explain.
She sang a lot of gospel.
She sang a lot of
She
gospel.
sang a lot of stuff about freedom and empowerment.
Yeah.
So it could have impacted people in a positive way, even though she on the inside she wasn't living the right life.
Okay, so she could have impacted people in a positive way because of the lyrics of her songs. Okay, any other thoughts? The way that God views success is very different from the way the world views success. The world thinks that to be successful is based on the things that you accomplish. It's based on the things that you have. It's based on what you know, who you know, where you go, your status in society. It's basically, their definition basically focuses on the external. But there's a verse in the Bible where God says, man looks on the outside, but God looks on the heart. God looks on the heart. So God judges success based on the condition of our hearts. And we can see what our hearts look like when we look at a person's attitudes, when we look at a person's behavior. So the degree to which a person loves God and the degree to which a person loves others helps us understand the degree to which in the mind of God they are successful. We talked about that a bit this morning as well. It's very important for us to understand that, so I'm going to repeat it. From God's viewpoint, He measures success based on the degree to which we love Him and the degree to which we love other people. And God says we can say that we love Him from now until the cow comes home, but the true measure of my love for God is how much I obey His word, how much I obey His rules, how much I obey His commandments. And the degree to which I love other people is measured based on my attitude towards people, the way I treat people, whether I treat them nicely, the way I mean to them. That's what God looks at. So God is looking at our character. He's looking at our hearts. Very, very different from the world standards. And it's important for you and I to understand that as we grow up in this world. Because this world, believe it or not, is very similar to Adam's world. Adam lived in a dangerous world, but Adam didn't know that. Adam had an invisible enemy. But he didn't know that. He didn't appreciate the fact that he had this invisible enemy that was trying to destroy him. You and I also have this invisible enemy that's trying to destroy us. And so we have to be aware of him. We have to understand his tactics. We have to understand how he works. We have to understand how to resist him. And how we understand that is by coming to events like these, is by reading your Bible. It's about cultivating a relationship with God so he can teach you these things. The people in the world, the people outside of the church, they don't understand what we're talking about. Because the enemy is invisible, they think that he doesn't exist. But now you and I every day have to make a choice. Adam, when he was in the garden, he had to make a choice. Every day he had to choose to spend time with God so he could learn about these things that we're talking about today. And every day he on purpose had to look out for the enemy. Because he didn't understand how his enemy operates, he ultimately became defeated by his enemy. But we don't want that to happen to you. That's what happened to Aretha. That's what happened to her father. But it doesn't have to be your life story. It doesn't have to be the way your life unfolds. So it's very important that we understand what we're talking about tonight. So let's think a little bit more about what I'm saying. So God has given us relationships. We talked about that this morning. The most important relationship that he has given us is a relationship with him. This is how he's going to teach us. But he's also given us parents. He's given us parents, and if you are fortunate enough to have godly parents, you are extremely blessed. Not many people have godly parents. But if God has given you godly parents, you need to recognize that they are a gift from God to you, and that God is giving them wisdom to impart to you so that you can live successful lives. Now, there are two, if there's a lot of movement tonight, I'm not exactly sure what's going on. What's going on? Why is there so much movement here?
Can everybody just turn?
This is also okay. The world right now is telling you that parents are a bother. They're telling you you don't need to listen to your parents. They're telling you that your parents don't know anything and that you know more than your parents, so therefore you always try to disobey your parents. But I'm telling you, if that continues to be the path you go down, you're going to end up very soon finding yourself in trouble. You're going to very soon find out that the enemy that we're talking about tonight, who's this invisible enemy, is going to find an opening into your life, and he's going to use that to try to destroy you. You understand what I'm saying? So even though the world is telling you, you can do your own thing, you can disobey your parents and it's okay, it's not okay. God, the one that we obey, because that's the most important relationship that we have, says we are to obey our parents. So if we disobey our parents, we can no longer say that we love God. Because to love God means that I'm doing what God tells me to do, right? So if I'm going to really love God, I have to obey my parents. And when my parents say, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't wear that, you have to obey. Because they are looking out for your soul. They love you. The world doesn't love you. The enemy is using the world to try to distract you, to try to seduce you, to try to get you away so you can open up the door to your life, and then he will come in, you'll take the bait, and before you know it, you've messed up your life forever. Aretha's life was messed up forever. She might have had money. She might have had all the things that the world calls success. But you know what she didn't have? Peace. She didn't have peace. She didn't have happiness. She didn't have joy. She didn't have those things. Which is why she resorted to the smoking and to the alcohol. That's how she was soothing her pain. But you don't have to make that mistake. So there's two key things I see as I look in society at the moment. I see two dangers that the enemy, our invisible enemy, is using against young people. One is this whole notion about you don't need to obey your parents, because this is a democratic society, so whatever you want to do, you just do it if it feels good. No, that's not what the Bible says. The second thing I see that the enemy is using right now in a big way to destroy young people is sex outside of marriage. The temptation to have sex outside of marriage. Yes, but not so much. I really want to talk about the sex outside of marriage, because everywhere you go now, it seems there is this pressure for young people to think that if they don't have a boyfriend when they're a teenager or younger, somehow they're strange. They're different. There's something wrong with it. Perhaps they're not pretty enough. Perhaps they're not, their body isn't, nicely curved, whatever. It's a lie from the pit of hell. It's a lie from the pit of hell. When you have your relationship with God solid, when you spend time with God and you cultivate that relationship with God, He will tell you who you are. Don't let anybody else tell you who you are. God says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. God says you are loved by Him. God says you are beautiful because He was the one who made you. He is the one who defines beauty, not man. He is the one who says you're a boy, you're a girl, be happy. You don't have to try to choose your gender or change your gender. These things are lies from that invisible enemy that I'm talking about, yes. When you're transgender, what? Is that a sin? You should be happy with the gender that God has given you. That's who God has made you to be. When you say, God, this is who you made me to be, but somehow I think I should be this gender, then you're saying, God, you made a mistake. God doesn't make mistakes. He made you who He knows you are. That's your identity. Yes, in the back.
Deuteronomy 5:22 says, mention not where women's clothing.
You have to speak up, my brother.
I said Deuteronomy 5:22 says, mention where women's clothing, and vice versa, or else you're detestable in the eye of God.
It says, mention not wear women's clothing and vice versa, and what?
Or else you're detestable in the eye of God.
Or you're detestable in the eyes of God. What's your point, my brother?
I'm just like speaking on what you.
Yeah, but what's your bigger point, my brother?
I was just like.
Because the reality is that right now, I don't know what's next. You speak of the transgender. But it's beyond what she's saying transgender. She's not even saying transvestite. She's gone beyond the transvestite stage, transgender. That's talking about having another gender, a gender change. That's what she's talking about. Right? Yes. Okay, just a second. Now I know that the topic is good. And I'm glad that you're engaged and you're interested. But only one person speaks at a time. And right now, you have the floor now. Go ahead. You have to speak up.
One time my mom told me about this verse in the Bible, and it said that gay and lesbians will not enter.
Okay, so, what's your name again? Alibosa. So Alibosa was saying there's a verse in the Bible that says gays and lesbians will not enter heaven. That's true. That verse is in the Bible.
That what?
That gays and lesbians will not enter heaven. That verse is in the Bible. The Bible does say that. Yes. What if you're bisexual? So God made, listen, okay, let's listen. This is good. This is good, so let's have the conversation. You know why it's good? Listen. You know why it's good? Because you can get answers from the Bible. You ask these questions in school, you're going to hear a very different answer. But that answer they're giving you is not based on the word of God. I'm giving you what God's word says. God created Adam and Eve. God created sex to occur between a man and a woman. Only. God never created anybody to be bisexual. It's not in the Bible. So the Bible is our standard of truth. The Bible is our rule book. The Bible shows us how to live. Now listen, as I said before, we have to stop thinking about the Bible just as a book of rules. God is giving us insights into the way the enemy works. He's giving us insights into the tools the enemy uses to destroy us. When you go against the word of God, you are taking the bait of your invisible enemy. And life is not going to be easy for you after that. It's not going to be easy for you to become disentangled from the yoke that you're going to come under. You understand? So it's very important that you resist the temptation to engage in sex outside of marriage. It's very important for you to obey your parents. Now, as I close, Aretha and her husband, and her father, were in church. I want to make this point. Aretha and her father were in church, but they were not obeying God. The world looked at them, or the church looked at them, and they probably thought, yeah, they're Christians. But as we heard last night, where's Sister Ayo? As we heard last night, going to church doesn't make you a Christian. Becoming a Christian requires much more than just going to church. Do not be deceived. Many of you say, I grew up in a Christian home. I go to church with my parents every Sunday or as often as I can, and that makes me a Christian. No, it does not. Every one of us has to come to the point in our life where we begin to recognize the things that we are doing that are wrong. And you know the things that you are doing that are wrong. And you have to begin to recognize that they are sin. God calls them what? Sin. God calls them sin. And there's a Bible verse that says the wages of sin is death. Not necessarily physical death, but it's going to lead you deeper and deeper into spiritual death where you can't hear the voice of God. You're going to become desensitized. You're going to call good evil and evil good. And a lot of that is happening now in society. So do not be deceived. You have to recognize that what you are doing is a sin. You have to recognize that there are consequences for your sinful behavior. And as we heard last night, you have to acknowledge that Jesus has already paid the price for your sin. There's a penalty that God will require of all sinners. Aretha and her father, we don't know where they ended up. Unless before the last moment of their life, they called out to God and asked him to forgive them for their sins and accepted Jesus as their Lord. They are not in heaven right now. I don't care what the word says. The Bible says they would be. You know where they would be? They would be in hell. And hell is not a party. The Bible describes hell as a place of eternal torment. Eternal torment. That hell was not made for man. Hell was made for our invisible enemy and his demons. We choose to go to hell. Nobody has to go to hell. We make a choice. But if we don't choose Jesus, if we don't make a conscious decision to choose Jesus, hell will automatically be where we end up. It's that serious. That's why we're here. That's why we've taken our time out of our work, out of our normal life to come and tell you these things. The world is not going to tell you these things. It's because we love you why we are here to tell you the truth. So I really want you tonight to take your life very seriously. I think it was Sister Ayo last night was talking about the Danforth shooting a few weeks ago. A 10-year-old child died. We don't know where she ended up. Don't take your life for granted. Tomorrow is not promised to any of us. It really isn't. So we have to come to the point where you make the decision. I am going to turn away from my disobedience. I'm going to turn away from my sinful behaviors. I'm going to turn away from my bad attitudes. I'm going to call them what God calls them. I'm going to call them sin. And I'm going to recognize that God sent Jesus to pay for my sin so that I don't have to be punished for my sin. It's that simple. That's the choice that we have to make. Last night there was an opportunity given for people who wanted to come forward. People who wanted to ask Jesus to come into their lives. People who wanted to turn their backs on sin and give their lives over to God. Tonight we're going to give you another opportunity. Because the Bible says today is the day when you need to make a decision. He says if you hear his voice, don't harden your hearts. Because tomorrow is not promised to any of us. So we're going to give you another opportunity tonight. If you know that you are in that place where you are not right with God, because you have been doing things that you know are wrong. You are being pressured to do things that you know when you leave the camp and you go back home, you go back to school, you're going to be doing these things that you know are displeasing to God. Then I want you tonight to listen and listen very carefully. God is speaking to you. God is speaking to you through me. God wants you to know how much he loves you. God doesn't want you to end up in hell. God wants you to spend eternity, the rest of your life with him. God wants you to have a nice life here. If you don't give your life to God and allow him to begin to guide you, allow him to shield you from the evil in the world, your life is not going to be a nice life. Remember what Psalm 28:7 says. The Lord is my strength and my... Why do we need a shield? To protect us. So God is telling us that there are things in this life that we need protecting from. And he is the one who offers us that protection. Now you have to choose whether or not you're going to accept it. He says, if you will believe that what I am saying is true, because I'm reading his word, then if you trust him, he will help you. That's what he wants to do. He wants to help you. So I'm going to end by extending to you tonight, one more time, an invitation. For those of you who are not sure where you stand with God, not sure whether you died right now, you would go to heaven or you would go to hell. Not quite sure if you're a Christian. Not quite sure how God sees you right now. I'm going to extend an invitation to you to come forward. I'm going to pray with you. We're going to pray with you. Is there anybody tonight under the sound of my voice who is feeling something on the inside? That thing you're feeling on the inside. It might be a thought in your mind. It might be a tightness in your tummy. That thing on the inside. The Holy Spirit that's talking to you. The Holy Spirit is talking to you. Let's spread up. Spread up. Spread up. The Holy Spirit is talking to you. Okay, be quiet. Quiet, everybody. Quiet, everybody. Quiet. Now, how many people have given their hearts to God before? How many people have come down to the altar before and given their hearts to God? Why are you back? Why are you back? Back at the altar to give your life to God. Are you serious this time? Yeah. Have you done it before? Are you serious this time is my question. God is asking you, are you serious? Are you willing to make the commitment this time to truly obey God? Give your life to God. Okay, testimony. Anybody else has done it before? Why are you here this time? Speak up, I can't hear you. Because you were still doing wrong, and now you recognize the dangerous position that you're in. It's always dangerous to disobey God. Anybody else did it before? Mercy, why are you here? Right, we'll talk about that as well. Anybody else did it before? Everybody else, this is your first time?
I did it.
You did it before as well.